This is Real Housewives. This is not like Forensic Files or Dateline where like, okay, I'm going to be, this is not what that is.
You are not a spy. Let us
Call it
know.
out. Yes, welcome
Cast
to
members.
Overanalyzed. We've overanalyzed so much already, but we're gonna overanalyze.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. We need merch, by the way. I do have a merch idea that I created on Canva that I'll send to you. I almost ordered it to you for your birthday, but I was like, I don't know. I wasn't confident, so I didn't. But I have it saved, so I'll send it to you. But we were talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 17, episode 6
and 7.
and
so
7.
This is a to be continued in the middle. So we're gonna put them together because
Yes.
they were hot and spicy.
Listen, these Atlanta girls. So episode 6 is titled "Saddle Up and Settle Scores." I want to know who comes up with these names because I love them.
Good title.
I
That's
can't
a chat
even.
GBT name.
I was
for title.
I don't know if that's shade or not, but it's really funny.
It was.
Okay. So this episode picks up the morning after the explosive Dallas drama that we witnessed between Angela and Miss Pinky Cole at that dinner. And listen, Angela and Pinky are, I think, going back to that fight as I'm reflecting this for a second, I think that fight kind of solidified another, not just an iconic Atlanta fight. I would argue probably it is up there in terms of housewives arguments. Like I love watching clips back, memes. Like that was talent at its finest.
So let me ask you this.
Ask away.
When you are coming on to Housewives, because this is Angela's second season and it's Pinky Cole's first season, do you say, if you're Pinky Cole, if I get into an argument with someone, it makes me polarizing, good or bad? Is that something you come in and you say, that's something I'm going to do my first season?
I'm sure some do.
Okay.
I don't think you should because that's not authentic and it's not, and it seems it can be like forced. There's no doubt that there are, at this point in 2026, 20 years of Housewives, that there are women that study the show, know the show. They might lie. I'm like, I've never watched it. It's like, there's no way. Even people that live under a rock, if you're being approached by Housewives or in your DMs or your inbox, whatever, if you are somehow part of the conversation in some form or fashion, there's no way that you don't know at least the context of Housewives, right? I guarantee there are Housewives that probably do come in going, okay, I know that I need to bring it, so I'm going to start blah, blah, blah. Typically, first season, we're getting a version of you. It's always the second season that a lot of housewives historically say is your toughest season because now the curtain's lifted, the veneer is gone, and it's like it can either make or break you. I think a lot of people call it like the 2-season curse. It's either like that will solidify whether or not you come back next season or not. Like, did you make an impact? Did you come off as an asshole? Did you come off too boring? Like, there is probably, when I say a science behind it, I don't mean like, I'm not meaning like a literal one. I think it's all like in the air of like how you're going to come across, and sadly you are at the mercy to editors, of course, but it's second season that really will kind of tell the real story of like, okay, how are they going to make it as a housewife? So for Angela, she's in that, and I have no qualms. Like, Angela is already kind of dipped her toe in the iconic housewife, in my opinion, pool. Like, she definitely will be one of those, like, okay, Angela Oakley is that girl. So I hope not. Is there a particular reason why you're asking? Are you saying maybe someone's trying a little too hard, maybe?
Well, because Angela is telling Pinky, I think you're out of place. I think you are acting too bothered. And then Pinky is bucking up, and we don't see any evidence of Pinky being drunk. So I'm thinking, new housewife, okay, you can think I'm unbothered, but you don't know me, and you let that be it.
Yeah, and that could be just,
she didn't have to.
And maybe that is her. Yeah, maybe that's just her.
Forth. Okay, yeah. So
it could be.
I laughed while you were speaking because you said, "Look behind the veneers," and Pinky says to Angela, "I need to buy you."
That was very unplanned for me,
which was funny. Okay.
But the women are emotionally split. Some think Pinky escalated way too aggressively. Others think Angela held her own, which I do personally. But multiple women begin questioning whether Pinky's intensity works in this friend group dynamic. And then Pinky largely shows little remorse and wants to move forward immediately.
And I, as a Black woman, and watching, I was like, I love all these Black women with their wigs off, with their hair wrapped up. I was like, dude, I love the honesty. I was so distracted because I was just like, this looks like every time I'm hanging out with people, because you go to sleep with your scarf on and you're having your little breakfast and some of them had their faces done, but they still didn't have the wigs on. And I was just like,
that's what I mean. That's why I'm
I
like, I
love
don't
the
buy
honesty
it.
of this show. I love
I do.
Atlanta.
I
love
do.
it.
Listen, Atlanta knows how to do it. They know how to
I
bring
love it.
Even when it was not at its best, I always thought Atlanta was always giving.
But I definitely think if we had to choose teams or alliances, you definitely are starting to see some of that.
You are. It's starting to form.
Yes, I think it's interesting because they had their riff, which I'm going to guess was a good 10 minutes.
If not longer.
Because it was enough time for Cynthia to be gone and then come back, and then the other people can hear them. And then they're like, okay, well, I take back what I said about you, or at least like I didn't come here to say all that about you, and now we're over it. And I'm sitting here like, there is no way we are over it. What do you mean we're over it? Because I'm going back to my room and I'm replaying every single thing you said to me, and I'm getting more upset. And I'm not even looking you in your eye the next day. So
I mean,
I think that kind of played in through the rest of it a little bit when they get to dinner later on.
I know. I commend them at this breakfast for them kind of, saying, okay, we did that. Let's move on. Now, overnight, I think Shamea and Kelli, did they spend the night in whose room? Was it Pinky's? Is that who? Because they didn't sleep in the poolhouse, right?
Yes, because their room still was not ready. Yes.
I thought it was funny because I think Shamea said she doesn't like sleeping with another person because she has to hold in like her farts, basically. And I just thought to myself, are you farting that much? I mean,
not even are you farting that much. Are you waking up to fart or waking yourself up from farting?
Or is it that loud or smelly that it might wake up somebody else? Because I mean,
and then it made me say, do you and your husband have separate beds? That was my next
that's what
thought.
I mean. I'm like, I know. And I'm like, which person? I'm like, you do you, girl. I mean, I hope no one shames you for that. However, it begs the question. I'm like, damn, is she farting that much that she's that concerned to sleep with somebody else for that reason? Like, what is it? But
hey, man, her body works. That's what I say to my kiddo. Your body works. As long as you say, excuse me.
That's all that matters. I know, if it's, I mean, you should excuse yourself in most circumstances. But if you're sleeping, whatever.
But the ladies get ready to go their separate ways. So and this is where it gets so good.
I know, it's so good. We have two groups. And one group, we have Shamea, Kelli, Pinky. Is that
and
it?
50 Cent.
And 50, yes. And poor Cynthia has to deal with these girls. I think she intentionally wanted to go with them. Did she say something? Right. And I'm like, I was kind of sad because not only did the other group have a lot of fun, but I'm like, Cynthia that would have been more her jam to be with the other girls. Because obviously the rest of the girls, so Angela, Porsha, Phaedra, Drew, and Kelly, or K. Michelle, sorry, were in the other group. They went to see horses. The other group went to what I'm very confused on what it was.
The cattle herding.
Well, yeah, but it was just...
Which was cattle watching.
Right, and they just walked. It looked like a matter of minutes, and then there was nothing...
I think it was like a festival and stuff, and then that was the big shebang, kind of like when you go to a whole thing and then you have a fireworks.
I guess maybe
they just got there
culturally,
right on time.
Locally and culturally, maybe. I'm like, I wouldn't want to have seen that.
I mean, but it's Texas. It's still Texas.
Whatever. So the pool drama is continuing, which I literally want to blow my brains out at this point. Kelli and Shamea are still upset over their room assignments and accommodations. And we see this displayed on the bus. And I have to say, one of the highlights, unfortunately, but fortunately for us viewers, is I love when we get to see 50 Cent come out. And it's my favorite. That is my favorite Cynthia. Because Cynthia is not having it anymore. And I do not blame her. And she shouldn't.
Honestly, she's going on 12, 14 hours of hearing it. Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Well, because here's the thing. So Cynthia, they're on the bus. Now that we have our two separate groups, we see Cynthia's group again with Shamea, Shamea and Kelli and Pinky on their bus to, whatever, the cattle herding. They're still going on and on. Poor Cynthia has already spoken to the property owners. She addressed the cleaning concerns, and she is just at this point just trying to smooth. She has already tried to smooth things over. She's a gracious host. We're seeing that, and it's just like let it fucking go. Like this is really annoying at this part. And you know what? I said it in our last episode when we talked about this. This literally validated. They are coming off incredibly ungrateful.
Mm-hmm.
And even Shamea is kind of like, when 50 Cent's coming out because she's really pissed off, she's like surprised. But she was like, why are you getting offended? Or I can't remember what she says, but she's like kind of pushing back on her as if she's surprised that Cynthia would be like irritated with this. And it's like, do you not listen to are you not hearing yourself? You are so annoying right now. You both are
They are.
like two like 12-year-old girls, bickering about something that was not intentional for one, though they're making it seem as if it is, or insinuating to some extent, and it's being rectified. Like, chill the fuck out. I thought it was so annoying. So
And
incredibly
Cynthia
annoying.
even says it. She's like, I I think it's Shamea who's like, well, we just want to make sure you know that it's whatever. And she's like, but you've told me, and you're still talking about it. What else do you want? And I was like, you go,
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia. Because to be fair, looking at them on the bus,
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia is giving like Den Mother, like the
Mm-hmm.
mentor, you know what I mean? The established, because she's not even a full cast member, trying to kind of be like, not necessarily learn from my wisdom, but hey, I'm here. This is my trip and I'm spending this part of it with you. This is a big gesture.
Yeah, she's basically she's the closest that we have to an OG. She came on season
Mm-hmm.
3. Cynthia is a big part of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And it's like when Cynthia was announced that she was coming back, even as a friend role, there was like a sense of comfort. I think most, if not all, Bravo and Real Housewives of Atlanta fans felt like she's coming home. Like, it feels good. Like a warm hug almost that she was
Mm-hmm.
coming back to the show. So you saying that, like den mother, kind of like leader of the pack type of thing, even in a friend role, it's like no, she is part of the DNA of this show's success. I feel
Yeah.
like it's a very natural thing because let's not forget, as a friend of the show, this is her trip. Friends of
Yeah.
don't get trips.
But
You
that
know what I
makes me
mean?
wonder. I think they probably wanted her full cast, and she said, I don't want to commit to recording
I
all of
think
it. Let me
she's
be
been very,
friend of.
for the most part, she's very open about she loves being a friend for that reason. She's like,
Yeah.
listen, I still get good pay and I get to dip in and out as much as I want
Mm-hmm.
without the added pressures and responsibilities of being full time. And it works for her. And I have to say, like, I do enjoy it. Selfishly, I want her full time so we get more of her. But like, if she's good, then I have no complaints.
Yeah, I respect it.
But she kind of unleashes on them, and basically is like, I've done what I can do, and so we're moving on. And she makes up a good point because let us not forget, like they're there for her event. Are they going to bring this to the event? That's what I kept thinking too. I'm like, if I'm hosting, if we're first of all, we're here for a trip that I'm coordinating for a work thing that I'm involved in. You're coming to ultimately that leads to a gala for my product. Are you going to bring this energy with you, or does it? I often think like if it was me, I'm like I feel like maybe I continue to grow as a human, but like if I was hosting something and I get too in my feelings, I'm like, that energy is going to linger no matter
Mm-hmm.
how good we settle these de-wrinkle this fabric, so to speak. I'm like, that's some bad like energy that we're already starting off with. That we're going to bring this along now. Like that's how I see things. I mean, Cynthia's way more mature than I am, but she brings up a good point. I love when she said, like, what, at this point, maybe are you not going to come? Maybe you shouldn't come, or whatever. How she says it, because I don't blame her,
Yeah.
because I'd be so pissed off.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I thought I was proud of her for nipping it in the bud and being like, look, get over it. I did all my part. This is it.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny when they finished their event and the ladies were taking pictures on top of the bull steed. And Pinky's like, I'm a vegan. I can't take a picture sitting on the back of a cow.
Can I just say
Ma'am, enough. This is not your full personality being vegan. Let it go.
I
Not
mean,
let it go, but like, enough. We get
for her
it.
it is. I'll tell you what, that actually made me sad because I felt so bad for that cow. or bull,
Oh,
whatever it was. I'm like,
yeah.
wait a minute. Its only purpose here is to be chained to this fence so people can just mock it and take pictures with it and like
For this
twerk
festival,
on it.
for
I
this
know.
festival, I'm sure
You
he
think
has
he
a
knows
lovely
that?
home back at a farm.
No. I mean, I hope so, but being in the fucking heat and then have people like bounce their ass on it, like, no.
No, that's
That made me
true.
sad. And
I
you know
don't
what?
watch it as much anymore, but I used to watch the Pioneer Woman all the time. And one time I was watching an
Oh,
episode where they were branding the cows. I was like,
I couldn't watch that.
my God, they do that shit just burns over. And oh,
Maybe I'm ignorant. I thought that was like outlawed. I thought you couldn't do that anymore.
well, I can't say that it was a current episode, but I was just, I don't know why I hadn't kind of thought about branding before. And I was like, that's kind of fucked up.
I have a lot of like animal rescue, animal type things that are probably within the last like year that have really like heavily infiltrated my FYP. Like,
Wow.
and I mean that's both on TikTok and Instagram now. Like, it's a very like more good than like the unfortunate or the one I get a lot of those like a dog was beaten and it ends with a happy ending, but like you got to go through the journey to see like where it came from. I get a lot of those, and I don't know what in the last like year or so I'm like I've always been hypersensitive,
Mm,
but now like I'm like I'm a bit extreme. I'm not gonna lie, like insensitive to like animal abuse, like visible animal
yeah.
abuses, like things like this. Like I said, like I saw my first reaction. I'm like that poor cow. I'm like it probably
Mm,
just wants to be in the field eating grass, but it's in the
I
heat
know.
chain. I don't like animals chained up to things. I'm like for some
Yeah.
reason it makes my skin crawl. And you know I have to say again because we were overanalyzing. You said this a little bit too about Pinky. I don't know what her feelings are because it has not come up one bit. As much as she talks about being vegan and filing for bankruptcy, I was surprised that she was didn't say anything about like, oh, this poor cow, like or bull, whatever animal. Because typically, and I'm not saying that I'm not trying to categorize all vegans here. Most people that are vegan that I have, cross paths with, oftentimes I have found in my experience. Again, I'm not painting everyone with broad strokes here, a lot most of the time it had to do with some sort of relationship with not wanting to eat
Yeah.
animals. I have now I could be wrong on this, but hearing different interviews and people talking about it, I think she had like I don't know if it was food poisoning, but she got like sick or something from like eating meat, and that's what turned why she went vegan. So she because what's quite clear is I have not heard her talk about anything about like animals rights, anything within that, talking about advocating for animals. I have not heard that one bit a part of her vegan journey. I'm like, and again, this one little scene like sparked this thought. I'm like, I'm not saying she doesn't care, but that is not a part of her not eating meat
Yeah.
journey. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'm looking too deep into it. It kind of made me sad in a way. I'm like, oh, so you don't really advocate for like animals? It's just because you chose
Yeah.
because you had a bad experience, and because let's be honest here too, it's not like she's doing it for the health benefits because all her stuff has like grease and all this stuff in it.
There's that. And then I was wondering when she said the comment, I was like, so what, you've never had a dog or you don't have a dog now? Because how
Oh
was
no,
that
she
the
does.
same? But she did tell us that she's a board member for PETA.
Oh,
She said
you
that in
know
a
what?
prior
You're right.
episode. But
Okay, so I take
you're
part of that back. I
right.
did forget about that.
At this point in this episode, I'm just rolling my eyes at her. So
Hmm.
what she said was probably innocuous. It probably meant nothing. But if she would have just said, oh, the animal looks thirsty, or how is the
Hmm.
animal having a good time, instead of just, I'm not taking a picture, I'm
Right.
vegan, it just would have hit better for
Okay. No,
me.
you're right. You're right.
But,
I take some of that heat back because you're right. I do
no.
kind of do remember her mentioning that. I want to hear about to what we have been saying. Like, okay, talk about that more. Your whole PETA work. Like, you still doing that? Like, what do you do? What does that all entail? But no, I just hear vegan and bankruptcy.
Yeah, that's what she's known for.
So I guess the
But
two are connected.
at the same time that this is happening, let's jump over to other
The
animals,
fun
because
group.
then you have
You
the
mean
fun group
that
that go
group, girl? I want to
horseback
be a part
riding.
of
But
that.
before they even leave, Angela comes out and she is not dressed
Oh my god,
for
she's wearing high
horseback
heels.
riding. High heels, the really
Well,
cute dress, but
let's just
she
be
did mention
honest.
that she didn't know the dynasty theme.
Let's
But
just be
then
honest here.
nobody
Not
rides the horses, and I feel like that was so on brand for the show.
I
Even
thought it
the
was.
Phaedra and Porsha, who were completely decked out in probably real cow leather.
I thought
outfits on their
no one was
way.
dressed appropriately for this. I don't think just
They all
nobody
knew they
was.
weren't riding cows. And I think if
Well,
Cynthia was in that group, she would not have been surprised.
while I would have loved to have been a part of that group because they genuinely looked like they had so much fun, I will say I thought it was a little rude that no one rode the horse. I thought that was actually kind of rude, and that was like usually I will tell you this from my experience in watching other housewives shows, somebody does the activity that they hire the person to come to. I thought it was actually kind of rude. Like this
Okay.
person is here riding the horse. You're all here to. They're under the impression that someone's gonna be like. That was the whole thing. It wasn't like let's learn about horse anatomy. It was horse riding.
Yeah.
Phaedra, who was an equestrienne, is literally explaining this, and she's not even writing it. So while it was fun, I did think it was actually kind of rude. I'm like, nobody could have ridden that fucking horse. Get on the fucking horse.
I thought it was funny because in this group it's Phaedra, Porsha, K. Michelle, and Angela,
And Drew.
and Andrew. And on the way there, Phaedra is talking about this demarche, D whatever thing, this way of writing, and it really
I
sounded
know.
fake. And then K. Michelle is like, I don't know what she's talking about. I've been around horses my whole life.
I know.
And when the lady who owns it says, now we're going to do the
Mhm.
debutante, whatever, I was so happy it was the same word. I was like, thank
Well, I
God.
remember that from when she started the show. This was Cynthia in season 3. She talked about being an equestrian. So I was
Mm.
like, "Oh, that's right. Yeah, I do remember that." And there's photo evidence of her
They did
doing all
show
that.
the
So
pictures,
I never
yeah.
doubted her. I knew that it was. Like, I'm like, I never heard of it, nor could I repeat it because I don't even know what the word is. But I'm like, oh,
Well,
she
then I think
knows.
it's on the producers because I was like, is it real? Because Phaedra can exaggerate. And I was like, oh, okay, good. It's the same
No,
thing. But
she's
yeah,
real.
so Phaedra said she wouldn't ride the horse because her wig wasn't glued down. Porsha was just like, of course I'm not riding a horse.
Wait.
Angela wasn't dressed correctly. And then K. Michelle was just like, no, I'm not riding the horse.
Well, I also love when they're trying to get someone to ride. Portia's like, no, my hair's too big, and they're like, well, Phaedra. And when she said, what did she say? She's not her. No, she
Have,
said something really
I'm not
funny.
secure
I'm not.
enough
Yeah,
to
I'm not
do it or
adhered. I'm
something.
not adhered or something. It was
She's so
so
funny.
funny, and they asked her in her confessional, and she threw some shade at the Beverly Hills girls because the producer asked her something like, "You mean like it wasn't glued down?" And she's like, "Girl, I'm not talking about that. Go ask that we go ask like the Beverly Hills girls or something." I was like, "Oh, girl,
Exactly. But I thought it was so funny
so good."
because the Atlanta women don't even pretend. We got dressed like this with your dynasty theme for
Mhm.
photos to say that we were in Dallas and we look amazing. I'm not actually a cowgirl. No, I'm not riding a horse. I loved it. And then Portia was really funny with it because she was like, the horse can tell we got too many of our
Oh,
bundles.
because it almost kicked them. Let's not forget that. You remember that?
And
And they're
she
like,
was like, so
you about
yeah,
I think it was like Angela was like you want us to go right after and just try to kill us? And I'm
I
like,
know.
you know what, for that reason, that would have been a legit reason to not write. I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to either. And I
But to
love
that
horses,
point,
but
I'm not then going to eat in the middle of the
oh my
stables.
god, I know. I thought that was so
She
weird.
said
I
we
would
took our food to go. And I was like, I know that's right.
while
So
that little lunch looked so much fun, and another, I probably could have drank like wine or had cocktails because I do love animal. I think that there's something funny about that. I'm like, I would love like to look over and laugh. I'm like, oh my god, there's a horse like right here over my shoulder. There's something funny about that.
not
I
drinking, won't that like amp
I
it
don't
up?
care. No, well then why else would I sit there? Like I need a reason to be in there. Like,
That's what I'm
th-
saying. But animals are so into it. Like I'm good. I'm not trying to be loud and boisterous around some horses. Horses are big as
I
shit.
would have done it. I
Mm-mm.
loved it. I thought it was
Goat
fun.
yoga maybe.
I
Not
would do that
horses.
too. I think it was funny. I was like, I'd probably eat like maybe like some cheese and crackers. I'm
Yeah, a
like,
little
okay, let's.
charcuterie.
Meanwhile, now jumping back to the other group.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, they are go to a restaurant, right, to go food. So this is where I'm going with
Because
this. So let me ask you this.
yes.
I have my actually there's only one way I'm looking at it. So she's kind of pissed off. I think it was in her confessional that she said basically like we couldn't find like accommodations that were soon like there'd be vegan options. What I can tell you, well, I have two thoughts. One, you're in Texas, and I'm not saying you don't have vegan restaurants, blah blah blah, but let's just be honest here. You're in a meat heavy state first and foremost. Two, I did listen to an interview that Cynthia Bailey was on, And she did confirm, she's like, there was a lot more that she could have gotten than just fries. There were different types of salads. She could have asked no meat, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So she was, and I had a feeling, because I'm like, am
She
I
could ask for
rash?
a fruit cup.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, it's no one should be coming for Cynthia. I'm gonna put it that way. There's no reason to come for Cynthia. So even a little bit seems like a lot. But you did try to imply like she didn't do her due diligence
For you
for
specifically.
you specifically. When
Mm-hmm.
listen, most rush. I'm not. I mean, I don't know what the full menu looks like. I would say it's more uncommon not to have some sort of like salad type of like section on the menu. And Cynthia did say that in an interview that I listened to, that she said there were other things that she could have gotten besides fries.
Well, I didn't think about it at all because I promise you there were
No, I didn't.
vegetarian options. Vegan, probably not because that is a very high
Right.
standard. I'm
Could have got a
certain there was a
salad with
vegetarian. They
tomatoes
had
and
some,
cucumbers.
they had corn, they probably had baked beans
Or
without
you just
beef.
say, like, I'll get the salad without the chicken and cheese
They
or something. Like, you
could,
could have.
yes, I guarantee you there was that. And I mean, you didn't have to choose French fries. You wanted French fries because you wanted French fries.
And
Let that just be it.
I'm not going to take away from, because she's clearly very sensitive to these.
Is she? She's picky and she's
Well,
picks
what
and
I'm saying,
chooses.
what I'm going to say is she's sensitive to the fact that already of anyone assuming that she's not really a vegan.
Oh, yeah, this is coming off of that. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Because the
yeah.
reason why I'm saying that is, again, I'm not a vegan, so I'm not a professional here. But also vegans I have crossed paths with. And I remember I used to do this in catering, but even when I used to work for another company, I did this too. And I would have to take all these things into considerations. And one thing I always had to make sure of was the vegan options that I had could not cross contaminate with
Yeah.
non-vegan items. I'm sorry. I'm probably assume that those fries are not made in a vat, that probably chicken tenders or some
It's
sort
the
of
same that. Yeah,
dairy
I know.
product, mozzarella stick, whatever the case might be. I am sure those have cross paths. So I thought, okay, even if you got fries because they're potatoes and like oil, I guarantee you those cross paths with a
Yeah.
vat of oil that definitely has touched non-vegan shit. So
True.
again, so I am not insinuating anything about her veganism. However, for someone that is so sensitive to being, for someone to even perhaps make a joke or make light of her veganism or even put it into some sort of question, I just thought it was a very interesting choice of food item. Just saying, I'm just putting it out there.
Me too. Me too. I did too. I thought it was very interesting, but clearly the producers want this to be a huge part of her storyline, and so that's fine, I guess.
I mean, whatever.
I'm curious to see if she convinces anyone else to kind of like come towards that side because I know Porsha
Uh,
was vegetarian for a while,
yeah.
but I
Well, I
thought it
think
was
she
funny
was
because
vegan
Porsha.
too. Actually, now that you said that, I think
Okay.
she kept calling herself a baby vegan. That's what she kept saying. And I can't remember. She said
Yeah.
she ate like bacon, but it was something funny like that. She's like, I'm a baby. I do remember that now. I totally forgot about that.
So,
So at this same dinner, we get a little Drew and Shamea action.
hmm
So they get into it a bit. And, I'm not sure I understand. I was trying to think of last season because I'm not understanding where their beef comes from. And that even goes back to the first episode of the season, where I feel like I remember even saying something of this too, when it was like Shamea is coming for Drew way too strong, even in episode one when they're at Portia's dinner. Of course, we saw at Pinky's charity event, they went at it, and Shamea's mom got involved. But I'm trying to think, where is the origin of this? And I think the only thing I came up with, and I can't remember if they said it, but because Drew brings up the whole Portia Shamea situation again. Well, she was bringing up the night before the rooms, but Portia came up again, and Shamea says something to her like, "No, like me and Portia are good. I think you don't want us to be good," or something like that. Like she insinuates like Drew gets herself involved in Shamea and Portia's downfall because they go at it a bit. And I'm just trying to think, like, what is it between these two that really is their issue? Because I'm still not clear, I know, other than what we have seen, but that's not the origin of whatever their issues
yeah,
are.
I definitely don't know, but I thought it was silly because, and somebody mentions it later. I think Shamea misses Porsha and misses being on that side, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. I think
I
she's
have
having
heard that.
trouble being
Yep.
where she is now. And I think
Mm-hmm.
she said, well, if I can't have Porsha, I'll just have these other new ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew's kind of in the middle, and I just think she's kind of floating and she doesn't really know where she fits, and that can be okay. But I think if you're gonna do that, you need to do it in like an Angela way where you're kind of like, I can stand on my own, period.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the most part, Shamea is just looking and watching and then being outspoken in her confessionals.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, for this to be my first season seeing her, her energy is not matching. I'm just like,
No,
what
it's
are you
not.
doing? So,
No, no, it's not.
yes. But in the car on the way back, we get to learn a lot about K. Michelle,
Mm-hmm.
where she tells us she's gay on holidays.
I thought it was so funny.
And we
I
also
want that on a
heard
shirt.
her talking, I'm sure someone is working on it. And we also
Mm-hmm.
heard her talking about how Drew said that she knew Black. And she's like, but I don't know Black. What are
Mm-hmm.
you talking about? And so
Yeah.
one thing that K. Michelle does, though, she says, I am just watching and trying to get to know these girls.
Like
And
observing.
yes. And so for this to be season 17, that is really fascinating to me because
Mm-hmm.
this is the oldest show I've watched, right? We just watched Beverly Hills, which was season 15. Rachel Zoe was new, Amanda was new, but they didn't approach it in the same way. Pinky Cole's not even approaching it in the same way as K. Michelle. I like that she is actively saying, I don't know these women, I've heard of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? She even mentions Phaedra and having all these fans seeing her at the airport and being like, Phaedra, Phaedra, Phaedra. She's like, okay, this is a bigger deal than I thought, right? So I kind of
Mm-hmm.
like that she's like, I'm just watching and observing and getting to know them because I don't know them. I really like that part. I thought it was going to bring a little bit of authenticity and like a clean slate for her to just kind of get to know everybody. Of course, that goes sideways in episode 7, but I think
Hmm.
because I
Sure
think a
does.
lot of your criticisms about Pinky Cole, and I have a note here. Pinky Cole is acting like she's an alumnus. She's coming in acting
Mm-hmm.
like she knows everything and knows backstory and stuff because she's seen it on TV.
Yeah.
And even Cynthia's like, chill, you're new here. And so I kind of like that K. Michelle is not bringing that
Mm-hmm.
energy, but both of them are flawed in both
Mm-hmm.
of their approaches. So, but I thought that was, I kind of like that.
What did you think about when Drew and Kelly got into it? Kelly tells Drew that she looks like an alien from our movie, and then Drew says right back to Kelly, "And what do you look like, misproportions?"
Yes.
These girls, I'm not.
Drew won that one because Kelly's proportions are, I
She's
can't
got,
say they're bad. That is the way her body
she's
was
short,
built.
but I forgot what outfit she was wearing. I was like, oh my god, her tits are huge. I'm like, are those real?
So
They're
this is
so
a
big.
good segue because this is in or episode 7.
They get changed. They're gonna go out to dinner, but there's yet another sprint. I'm telling everything happens on the Sprinter vans in these shows.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to dinner. An entire group piles onto the Sprinter van, and Cynthia asks the women to reflect on their friendships, which I'm like,
Mm.
Cynthia, don't. And this is when
Nene
it
would have said, "That's
turns.
so Cynthia."
I know. Kelly thanks the cast for supporting her in their new restaurant opening, where Angela then quickly points out, and she asks, who wasn't there? And I'm like, okay, and I love Angela.
That was on Kelly. Kelly said to everyone who attended,
Well,
"I
oh, yes,
appreciate you."
right. But we could have left it there in the sake of having dinner. And I'm like, Angela, girl, you're so messy sometimes. And she asks who wasn't there, and then it's Porsha, and then we get into a pretty intense fight between Porsha and Kelly. A lot of allegations were tossed around.
But they
Porsha
needed
count.
to talk that out.
I
And we still
mean,
didn't get to the
well,
end of it because
yes,
one of the producers says, "What kind of a man tells someone who he's sleeping with?" And that was my first thought. I was just like, a punk. But then you
yeah,
can't be mad that you slept with a punk if you didn't know he was a punk before. But I was just like, men do talk like that though. So
right.
hopefully this isn't someone Kelly wants to get serious with.
Well,
If it happened, Because Phaedra says she knows the woman and she's trying to protect the woman, and that's making me feel like it was a cast member. And my head is
Oh, I don't think that.
swirling because
I
I
don't
was
think that.
like,
I don't think it is a cast member at all. So
was
yes,
she with Kenya's husband?
no, he doesn't even live there.
I know.
So yeah, Angela says that Kelli points out that it was Porsha skipped the event. Porsha counters that she sent flowers, but Kelli states that she wanted her actual presents, which I still stand by. I'm like, I don't know why, because you all are not on good terms. Then the conversation quickly devolves into a toxic situation. So Porsha brings up the rumors that Kelli has been sleeping with a married man. I did read Porsha's book, but I feel like I don't. I know I didn't finish it, so I apologize, Porsha. So I need to go reread it. Kelli then retaliates by bringing up Porsha's past interactions with R. Kelly. And I was like, oh, Lord, not R. Kelly. Why does he have anything to do with this? I mean, again, I don't want to speak on this as if I know. But I guess I could find that out easily. I have my phone right here. If she actually, I guess, slept with him. But Porsha, again, you don't want to fuck with Porsha because in her confessional, she says that these insults that Kelli are throwing at Porsha are all like out there already. They're not only so old, but they're in her own book. And I'm like, Kelli is so embarrassing in my opinion because she's throwing insults that are public knowledge, and that it's one thing if it's like rumors, like blogs, but these are things that Porsha has talked about in her own fucking book.
She's talking about things that are giving, I'm a super fan and I Google you when we're not together.
Literally.
And then yes, she says she has the Frito pie.
Oh my God.
Which we all were laughing at, and somehow K. Michelle thought was her, but didn't think was her. But she also was just like, how can you say that? I think if you would ever even try to say something like that to K. Michelle, she would never speak to you again in her life. Probably. So I think that's why she can't understand why these ladies are able to just get out of the car.
I know this is why I started to turn with K. Michelle, because I'm like, wait, hold on. And to your point, when they start talking about the married man accusation, Phaedra is realizing the severity of the claim and attempts to shut it down. Because she says that she knows the wife that's involved, or she knows who they are, and she's trying to protect the wife that's involved because I guess this guy has a wife and kids.
And Phaedra also says maybe she doesn't know he was married.
And you know what?
Which could also be the case.
That was very admirable, and I will say that's why I felt really real. I was like, normally they let this shit fly. And I'm like, she was like, no, we're not. Even for her, like, we're not going to go there. We're not. This has to do with somebody that's not even involved in any. That's why I think that it had nothing to do. The people that they're bringing up have nothing to do with this. Let's not drag them into that. I think if it was someone that was kind of like either a housewife or in their circle, I think maybe it would be a little different, or maybe she just would feel the same exact way, or still do the same exact thing. And they might not even be famous or anything. There's nothing guaranteed that, you know, a famous person, but
just to blow up that family, just to get a dig at Kelli is not worth it.
So this was funny to me because as they're still going on, Porsha does yell at her and says, "Bitch, you try to scissor me in Grenada," and that's going to what you're saying. And
I can't. I was like, wait, the Grenada, which is where Shamea is trying to make this liquor from. And the last season, which I didn't see, and now y'all aren't friends. And I was just like, and then Shamea pops on, and she's like, how did I get pulled into this? Because apparently Porsha told Shamea that this was happening, or she hit on her.
I have to say, call me biased. I really don't care. I believe Porsha in all of this. I believe Kelli did fuck a married guy. I do believe she tried to scissor Porsha. And I think because, again,
Cynthia said she couldn't even wrap her legs around her. Why would she?
I know.
Why would Porsha hit on you? You know.
One of the best things about these fights, I swear, it's like you could be hurling, like, I don't know, I'm not going to say serious insults, but, you know, things like, fuck you, bitch, you're dirty, whatever the case, like, legitimate things, and then right in it you could also throw something like, and girl, you try to scissor me, like, it's just so, this is like,
it ends
is this improv? Like, because it is so ridiculous and funny.
Because we go from there to they pull.
I was gonna say, and that is where
To be
The episode
continued.
ends. It's to be continued, which boy does it.
And this is the good part because they all sit down to dinner
Mhm.
except for Pinky, who is drunk.
Oh my god! So she must have either she's a lightweight or she was drinking a lot.
All
Cause
she's
she
had
what?
is French fries.
I
She
guess
is
so. I guess
probably
that yeah. I
wasted
guess
on
that's a
her
good point.
ass.
But how much was she drinking?
I thought we were going to hear that she was pregnant because I was like, who drinks to the point of puking at this big age?
Yeah.
But
Well, did you
again,
notice? She was.
all she's had was fries or whatever. So,
I guess if she's just downing shots or
but
whatever, I
she
don't know.
was just out of it. Cynthia's the only one that goes and checks on her.
When she does end up leaving, right? But did you notice she was wearing like
She didn't even have her
fake?
shoes on or
Yeah, she was wearing like
something.
little booty. I'm like, were you like
She
throwing up on your
like puked
feet?
all over
I was like, oh
everything.
my god, she is that drunk. Oh my god! But so the episode picks up immediately inside the Sprinter van, following Portia's explosive claims. Shamea attempts to step in to deny that the Grenada incident ever occurred, and Kelli completely rejects Portia's accusation, aggressively stating that she is not into women and has zero interest in Portia, and demands an end to the lies.
And Shamea says that she wasn't a part of it either. She doesn't know anything
Liar.
about it. And
Sorry, I'm
then, you know
calling
what?
lies.
I have a note here that says K
What's your
Michelle is
no?
so grown, and I love it because the
Mhm.
last scene we saw with her, it was on the way there where she says, I didn't know Phaedra was so cool. I didn't even know that. I
Yeah,
thought I
I do
wasn't going to
remember her.
like her. So I'm like, I like K Michelle. She's coming in as a real person.
Hmm.
Yes, Portia's the one that brought me into this group, but let me get to know everyone on my own. Great. And then it
Well,
flips over some
not
oysters.
well. Yeah, hold on.
Yes. Yes.
Before we get to that, I
Yes.
appreciate that perspective because I don't feel the same exact way. I'm
Ooh.
actually extremely confused
Okay.
because I can appreciate on one hand, yes, you want to get to know everyone. That's a very mature, to your point, grown thing to do. Love that. Yes, K Michelle is not new to reality TV. She understands the inner workings of this machine. That, like, okay, I think two things could be true at the same time because she has been funny in a lot of moments. I first couple episodes, I was like, okay, yes, I'm loving this energy already because it was funny. It was not. We didn't get into the heated stuff yet. I'm gonna be honest. At this point, now we're in episode 7, and I end episode 7 very confused and actually like I don't even know how I feel about her. But before that, if her if my thought process on her in the beginning of episode 7 from episode 1, while yes, you might be getting to know the women, let's not forget her in the beginning of the season, episode 1. She was out there at Portia's party. She was having a good time. She was funny and had jokes and quips and all this kind of stuff. Granted, she did walk away when they did start to fight, so it is kind of somewhat on par, and she's consistent, sure. At this point, I'm actually really confused because she's also acting as if like she doesn't understand how they can hurl insults, but then like bake bread together. And I'm starting to get very confused by her, and I don't understand it
No, that's
because
a really good point.
this is
Because
not a new thing for her.
even in episode 4 at Pinky's charity event, she was like the MC of the event. So she wasn't even around when they were starting to get into the
Yeah.
argument. She is on the outside. She's like a D plus, C
Right
minus right now
now,
with her performance. She's not really
we do to your point. You kind of hinted as a little bit, but yet dramatically, and not and I would
not
say
in the
not for the
favorable
better.
way.
Yeah,
I would
not for the
rather her be
better.
arguing with Angela like Pinky did. Because I was
Yeah.
like, so with
Hmm.
her coming in as a country person, I was like, she's rebranding herself.
Hmm.
But that would have been someone who got her ass on that horse and rode it in Texas. Yep,
Yeah.
country music, country girl,
Yeah.
right? We're not getting that part. That would have been, oh, my glam squad's night here, but I'm glamorous
Yeah.
anywhere. What would Jolene have done? She would have put on some fucking lip gloss and went to dinner,
Right.
right?
I do agree with that too.
So she's not, they're not lining up with, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? You're giving us this Mariah Carey energy.
Hmm. It's giving a
Yes.
subpar diva. I don't mean this disrespectfully. I'm like, the shoe doesn't fit, honey. I'm sorry.
But this is the thing, because I'm reading my bad handwriting here. I was a
Hmm.
little bit irritated when Portia apologized for everything she said in the Sprinter van.
Oh, I
I
wasn't.
don't want
See,
to be that person. I'm not that person.
hmm
But But you are. And I've seen you in prior seasons and I've still said you're mature. You can still be mature and have given her, you and Kelly have needed to talk and y'all still need to speak because this is still not the conversation you wanted to have. But
I disagree.
this is why I don't care for it though, because it gives K Michelle and like, I'm trying to be nice, but I want to cuss all y'all out. This whole I'm too sanctified to have real emotions bullshit, I can't. I do not like that.
I don't. So here's the
If you're
thing.
cussing somebody out in your head, it's just as bad as cussing them out in real life. You need to align yourself. That part irritates the shit out of me, but on a different
Mhm.
level.
Well,
Yes.
here's why I disagree. It's
Mm-hmm.
because we're seeing a different. And Portia said this last year, and now she's saying it a little. She's continuing, but in a different way this year. We're seeing a different Portia, a more evolved
Mm-hmm.
Portia, and I think let us not forget. I'm not. And this is maybe more my own personal view, but I think to some extent, I think most people can agree having Portia on back on Real Housewives of Atlanta. There's a queen of the show. I always feel like maybe an unpopular opinion. It is an ensemble cast, yes. Portia, I think, she's the iconic one. She is like the Kyle Richards of this show now. We don't have Nene. We don't. Yes, we have Cynthia
We don't have
full
candy.
time. We don't have Candy. So Portia to me on this show, I think, is kind of like the one that we're looking at as our North Star to a certain extent. I don't mean that like morally or anything like that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying oftentimes I feel like there is that we talked about this on Salt Lake City. Heather Gay, whether you want to hate, and a lot of people want to hate her for it, give her hate, but I think some people need to start getting of the understanding, whether you like it or not, she is kind of the narrator of the show now. Kyle Richards, same thing. She is the center force of that show. That doesn't always mean everyone likes you. That's not what I'm saying. But there is kind of an anchor to some extent. Portia, to me now, because of her history with Bravo, with the show, she is very iconic in terms of not just reality TV, but in Housewives. Where I
She
can,
sets the tone.
she's
Yeah.
setting a tone and an example to some extent, right? And so I saw that as okay, this bitch down here can be low down. I ain't gonna do that. So I'm gonna show I can rise above it. I could chew you out, reflect for a moment, and go, I don't want to be that person to say
Okay.
those horrible things. That's how I took it, and that's how I receive it. I think probably both what we're saying probably both can be true at the same time. I don't think Portia's ever going to shy away from like she's a real bitch and she is a
Yeah.
bad bitch and she is a boss. And I think you have to kind of toe that line sometimes of like, okay, I can read you and I can bitch you out, but I can also understand like, okay, at the end of the day, I'm kind of the anchor here, so let me get it together. Now I know by me saying that, probably a lot of those girls would bitch me out for saying that, and I'll take that. But every kind of show kind of has their anchor, and Portia,
Yeah.
let's be clear, is whether you want to accept it or believe it or not. In my opinion, at least, she's that anchor, and I liked seeing it because I don't think Kelly has that in her. And they even said that when they
Mm,
try to make amends, Portia even says, and maybe I apologize, I don't want to be that person, blah, blah, blah. We maybe need to have a conversation, just the two of us separately. And Kelly said, nah, I'm good. And what did
yeah.
Portia do? Portia could have, she didn't bitch her out. She didn't complain. She didn't go, whatever, girl. She was like, okay, I can accept that. A mature adult does it. It's not like we're not getting a boring Portia because we know that she can. So
Correct.
we just saw it. So I think
Correct.
she's being best of both worlds because someone has to. Then we're gonna get too divided, and that I don't think people can handle. I hate that shit, and this is already kind of going in that direction. We definitely see that in this episode. That I hope it doesn't stay this way necessarily, but by the end of this episode, I feel like we did see two teams, and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna look forward to that. But
Yeah.
to
I
your
think that's a
point,
really good point that you made, though. And I think my preference on it is just a personality preference. Because again,
yeah,
like, don't apologize to me. Just don't do it again. And if Portia feels
mm-hmm.
like she wants to change the behavior and apologize because it makes her a better person, go for it. So
Yeah.
you're right.
Either take it or don't. I think for what it was kind of progress,
But the
and
problem with
Portia
Kelly's
received it.
receiving it is
Hmm.
the same thing we were talking about earlier. Kelly tried to make this joke earlier, but Kelly, you think you're Beyonce, but you're not. And so she's she's kind of giving like, well, if I shun Porsha and don't accept her, I'll be okay. And it's kind of like, you're mostly just looking petty in your confessionals, and the rest of
Mm-hmm.
it, you're just looking whiny. You really are. You're
She
whining about your
does.
business. You're whining about your house.
Talk about this. I mean, there's really not much to say.
Mhm.
But going back to the previous episode when they were at the pool, Kelli and Shamea, and then K Michelle. And I remember Kelli was crying about her husband again, doing some sort of interview, and I'm just like, with all due respect, no one gives a fuck. I don't even know who your husband is. And she was like
Mm-mm.
talking about him last season and their, I don't know if it was a divorce battle or custody, something, I don't know, back and forth. And she had to get sick. She hired security, like security guards with her because it didn't land for me so much so that I can't give you the details because I don't remember them. But she just really started crying about her husband at the pool of like, he did this interview and I'm like, did he? Because I don't know who your fucking husband is. And I'm pretty sure, like, no one cares. And I'm not taking away from her pain, but, like,
Mm-hmm.
I really don't care. So to
You
your
don't
point,
care so much. We missed it in all of episode 6.
I honestly, and so when you just said that, I agree with you. I think she is setting herself up to be so unliked. And of course, everyone's gonna have fans in these shows, so whatever. But I think it's hard to like her when I don't know you. The only decent scene where it showed you temporarily in a positive light was her opening her restaurant, which even within that same thing involved you like talking down to Porsha in that phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I thought because y'all, what doesn't matter who started it, who was right, wrong, whatever. Y'all were not in a good place, so of course she should. I wouldn't come and support her after if I had a little altercation with my friend. I'm like, no, I think it was big enough to send like flowers to you, and you couldn't even accept being a more mature adult. Be like, yeah, I got. I would be like, yeah, I got them. Thank you, appreciate it. They're pretty. Don't want to talk though because I'm busy. Bye. No, you had to give digs. So I just feel like she does whine. She is not justified in her really immature actions. And she doesn't want to have a mature conversation with her. I don't see anything redeeming in terms of that I like about her. I'm sure other people do, and I think that's great. I don't see it. And I do think she whines and complains a lot for I don't even know what.
She does. And to Portia's maturity, she can make fun of herself
Yeah,
because
she
Kelli
100%.
says she had a smelly Frito pie, lady parts. Why would I want that Frito pie, chili cheese Frito cat? And so Portia makes a show of checking all the oysters, which are supposed to be an aphrodisiac. I don't know if they are the clam's reproductive parts or not, but she is checking every clam. That cat's clean, that one's clean, that one's clean. I don't know. And we see a shot of K Michelle looking so disgusted at her
Yes.
inspecting the food. And I thought she was like, how dare you touch the food we're all going to eat? And I had to rewind it and I said, no, because she's using a knife. We don't see her lick the knife. I don't even see K Michelle being a person who would eat oysters because you don't chew them, you just swallow the thing. Yes, so we have that scene, and Portia is making fun of herself after just apologizing, which I thought was very endearing. And I was like,
I agree.
Portia still knows how to keep you entertained,
100%.
even in this new evolved way. And I love it. I think it's so funny.
You had mentioned the oysters. I don't like seafood, and oysters in particular really freak me out. Mussels, all that kind of shit. But one thing I know I personally made jokes about, I think it's pretty common that people make jokes about and I'm not saying it's right or wrong or indifferent. I'm just saying it's what exists. A lot of people make jokes in terms of oysters and vaginas. Seafood, oyster, that's clams, like
Yes.
it's a thing. It exists in the, lexicon that is American culture. I'm maybe globally, I don't know. So with that being said, so Portia says her little, makes a joke about the smell. Oh, it smells good, or I can't remember. Like it doesn't smell like she makes a coy little joke, right? And you can see K Michelle is visibly like, okay, what? We do learn later in the episode, though, that apparently she was tipped off. I've heard other interviews that perhaps think that producers tipped her off, but who knows? But she was tipped off that that people were going to be coming out to get her, or plot against her. So where this is connected to, I was doing some digging and I've heard a little bit about this. 8 years ago, there was an old rumor that deeply hurt her. There was some sort of rumor that went around that really hurt her. So knowing in the back of her mind that she was tipped off that maybe there was a plot against her, this comes up and maybe fuels like, is this the thing that they tipped me off of? And of course, who's saying it is Porsha. And as we know, she already has been feeling a type of way for Porsha for some time now. This is where those two things now are connecting, right? That she is thinking, that's why she's offended by whatever this is from a rumor that is 8 years old. So Porsha makes the joke about the oysters, and K. Michelle immediately got emotional because she believed it was a coded dig, referencing an old rumor spread years ago by an ex about her hygiene.
Who cares, K. Michelle?
Well,
You really
exactly.
think they have this much time? Now, if someone did plant a story in her and they know that she's susceptible of that, that's not fair.
Agreed.
Porsha does not have time to be
Porsha does
thinking
not have
about
time.
that and thinking about. And I thought she was making fun of what they were literally just talking about in the Sprinter van. Why would it be you? Most people are thinking about themselves all day. Why do you think they're thinking? I was really freaked out. I'm like, Pinky is drunk, and we barely even saw her
And she left. She
drinking.
booked it, and probably for the best.
Cynthia is just trying to have a good dinner. Kelly's not accepting the apology, and now she is staring at her like she spit in the food. And I don't understand what is happening. And also in the back of my mind is, were there seating charts? Because Phaedra is not sitting next to Porsha. And I was like, was this on purpose that they were all kind of split? But I feel so bad for K. Michelle because I was like, clearly she
Do we?
believes whatever she knows, and she is not going to listen to anything that's happening here.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
think.
trust the girl. She needs to leave before the season's over. You don't trust them. You look like you would literally harm them. Like,
Well, I think you. Well, you bring up a good point. I think that is the question, right? I mean, talk about a to be continued moment. That is probably one of the first questions we need to know. It's I don't need to know first who you're talking about. I think it's more important who tipped you off first and foremost. I think that might be more telling than anything. Because then we jump to, and just so we can get into it. So we jump to the next day. We're in a brand new day. And K. Michelle showed up to breakfast in tears but refused to explain why. And she vaguely announced that she had information that someone in the group was plotting against her. No names, no receipts, and nothing concrete to work with. And then privately, she confided, apparently, we find out, to Pinky, Kelli, and Shamea that she heard Drew, Phaedra, and Porsha were planning to humiliate her by degrading up the old vagina accusations, and that the oyster inspection confirmed her fears. So let's get it. This is where everything turns for, well, certainly for me, and I'm curious for you what you, because you had just said you felt bad for K. Michelle. And I think maybe if I was micro watching this episode, like doing like a minute play by play, after that dinner, I may have agreed with like, okay, like she is visible, like something she's clearly uncomfortable, whatever, whatever. I'm already kind of feeling a certain way because of her, like, okay, she's kind of like a deer in headlights, understanding how these girls can fight and then eat dinner and bake bread with each other. And I'm like, I just think that's kind of just a good cast how that works. Like giving like we can throw shade at each other, but let's go have a meal and maybe do it all over again. Who knows? But she comes down at dinner visibly like very visibly upset and gives and kind of dropped this bomb, but refused to give any detail of who the fuck she's talking about. And I'm just think that is so incredibly weird.
well, think about this. She comes down to eat without a stitch of makeup on. The same thing that 2 days ago, she would not even leave her room without being glam.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is such a big deal that she doesn't care about being presentable or not, which she claims this whole smelly
Mm-hmm.
cat situation has to do with her never looking put together and never being done up. Now, if you came to me and said, I heard that you were saying this. Is it true? Is it not? That is rational.
Mm-hmm.
She is not being rational right now. When someone's not being rational, you just don't know what they're going to do. And these ladies do not know her. And I am
Mm-hmm.
just looking and I'm like, you're mad about something from 8 years ago. You're going to hold something that happened 2 days ago for the next 12 years. She freaks out. She gets pissed off. And then
Mm-hmm.
you're acting like it was a secret, but you told them all last night. So it was like, do you remember you told? Like, it's giving like,
Well, she only told three of the girls, right? And they're all keeping mum on it until because and thank God
but what
once
do you think
again.
is going to happen? You say, I heard, Phaedra, that you're plotting on me, and you're going to say, no, I'm
Yes,
not.
I would.
But that's just it. And then you say, no, I'm not. And now you have to choose to believe me or not. How long are you going to drag this thing out where you're being paranoid that we're out to get you?
I think it's weird that she's paranoid. And when I say weird, I
It's
don't mean it's like,
terrifying.
or
I don't think it's entertaining.
I don't think I find it entertaining. I think it's giving. Are you okay to be on this show? Listen, I think the moment anyone starts saying anything like, I think people are plotting against me, I'm just like, you might need some help. And I'm not saying that in a I really don't mean that in a negative way. It is, if I start to feel anything like that, like people are plotting a plan against me, going to be a national TV, I don't know, causes some sort of concern.
There's
I'm
a bunch of
sorry.
layers there. And you're
It is a bunch of
already,
layers. The opposite of like why she should be so secretive. Because I'm like, you're
mm,
not like new to this. This is, I think that's the whole point I've been trying to make, at least for this episode with her, is like this is not a new machine for you to be, learning. You know how that you are famous. You probably arguably a little more famous than most of these girls. Like you have real accolades and I shouldn't say it that way. Not real as if
Beyonce
they're
sends you gifts.
right. I
You're
mean,
more
you are a
famous.
singer, and not to say anyone else's accomplishments aren't real. That's not what I'm saying. I think it's different. You have a big public persona in a much different way than a lot of these women. That furthermore makes me feel weird that you're so quick to say, "Oh my god, people are plotting against me." I'm not saying that she is this. I hear that in my instinct during this episode when she was talking like this and visibly like, crying, all that was like schizophrenia. Like
I
I'm
thought
just
that
like,
too.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I guess on one hand, I take it back. There was a part of me I did feel bad for her because I always feel bad for someone that cried, and those look like real tears. I think that part is where my empathy was like, "Are you okay to be on the show?" Because these shows are not like people do some dirty shit. Don't get me wrong, but this is if all true, if whatever is true, let's say that's some really dark stuff that I'm like, I don't know, like that's not that to your point, that is not entertaining. At the same time, however, because she's not new to this at all, fame, reality TV, whatever, whatever, she has a very feisty personality. You're gonna sit there and cry. Okay, they're all comforting you, so I can understand. Like, okay, in the back of your head, you really do believe that someone here is a rat. Let's say, yeah, I can understand. Like, and they're all like consoling you, so that can be uncomfortable. Totally, 100% understand that. Now's the time to be like, okay, bitch, I heard it was, this is Real Housewives. This is not like Forensic Files or Dateline where like, okay, I'm going to be, this is not what that is.
You are not a spy. Let us
Call it
know.
out. This is the game that you're playing. This is what you signed up for. Now is the time that you go, you know what? Drew, Phaedra, whoever, lay it down. Lay the cards out. Like,
Oh, that's just like what Portia's doing with the married man in her own way, actually.
but that's
She's,
what I mean.
yeah,
That's what
just put it out
this
there.
is what this is what we do here. Lay it
Gotcha.
out there. So that part felt weird to me. Again, and when we find out, because it's not as if this whole crowd doesn't know, because as we know, they showed it. Like she told some of the other girls, and of course, this is where we start to see the teams thing because they're not. Okay, yep. Clearly, is already made up her mind against Porsha. This is what I'm talking about in terms of the anchor, matriarch, however you want to call it. What does she do? And I truly felt this in this moment when she had her head wrap on. I think she's wearing sunglasses, and she was like, "Hold on, hold on, hold on." I feel a sense of responsibility. I brought you into this group, and she wants to lend help. But like, I want to help take care of this for you because we can do this and that and whatever, but this is affecting you in this way, and that ain't cool. And I really felt that from Porsha. Like that does not seem like a fake thing to me. And call me crazy, but I'm like, I almost take offense to anyone that like some of these girls. Like, I don't think that's producer her trying to manipulate the show in her favor. And God forbid, if we find that out, I will be devastated and I will be happy to eat my own words. But I really felt that like this was a very different like going back to her apologizing to Kelly and trying to like be a mature adult. This was her going all bullshit aside, like, no, 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 no. I feel a sense of responsibility here. What can I do?
Yeah, I liked it too. If you don't want to come to breakfast, dinner, whatever, don't come. If someone comes to your room and then
That
you do
too.
come and you start crying, tell us
That's
what
different.
happened.
Right.
Don't start crying. I can't discuss it. I already talked about it
I
last
agree.
night.
I agree with that too. Yeah.
Because you know what? At this big age, you know how to use words, you know how to communicate.
I agree with
Say
that.
it or don't say it. And if you are so affected that you are still crying, that is okay to
Mm-hmm.
not show up. This morning is not a good time for me, and that is absolutely okay. And also, I need to see the receipts of the conversation that she had with Pinky, Shamea, and Kelly
Mm-hmm.
because a couple episodes ago, we gave K Michelle big applause for when she goes and has lunch with Porsha and says,
Mm-hmm.
you said this thing, you thought it was a miscarriage. I didn't like that. That was dirty.
Right. Yeah.
Where's you pulling her aside or walking with her slowly out of the restaurant? Bitch, were you talking about me? No, of course not. And then it's over.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see the space for that happening. And I think that's where it wasn't entertaining, but it wasn't entertaining to the point where it was just scary. But what I'm saying scary is are you okay to be on this show? Because that was how I was feeling. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, how can this be good for your marriage,
Mental
career,
health.
life,
Yeah.
all of it?
Mm-hmm.
And we know on social media in real time, she was just putting out tweets or
Well,
whatever,
I was
talking
just
about,
gonna
I
say
like
that.
everyone on this show. I have
So
no
that's
problem with
what
people on this show.
I think. If she hadn't done that, I might have a slightly change of heart or perspective. But meanwhile, then you bring up an excellent point. You're tweeting about this in live time, which, by the way, I'm actually really surprised that like production and all that allowed her to do that and keep it up. And I don't know if it she ended up deleting it. I don't think she did, but I could be wrong on that. Well, they had it on the screen. That tells me like, okay, no, you're very cognizant of whatever this is that you needed to put it out there.
It was
Okay.
one way to bring it up because it was not handled.
Well, that's a good point. And you know what? Here's the thing: we didn't talk about that angle, and I guess I didn't think about it. I guess it's hard to say if she really truly felt like if she was tipped off in some sort of way, and if you were anxious, maybe. But I'm like, you brought it. If you didn't mention it, nobody would have talked about it. But I guess if you thought if someone made you believe otherwise, then I guess there would be no way to avoid it. Whatever.
Or if we didn't have the spiral out, and I know you talk about
Mm-hmm.
this all the time, stuff that does not happen on camera, don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if all she said was, from watching y'all yell at each other in the van to
Mm-hmm.
now going to have dinner to watching Angela and all of y'all yelling outside at dinner and then now y'all gonna hug, I'm
Mm-hmm.
afraid you're gonna bring up my stuff. That could have been enough. Right? Then she could have
It's
just
true.
imagined, even if someone knew this, they were, but to that point, then don't argue with people if you know they
And
can
don't
Google
argue with
you and bring
people.
things up. This whole
Mm-hmm.
you're plotting and I have a whole conversation outside of it, that is where it gets to like,
Mm-hmm.
it makes me then question everything she's ever said. And now I feel
Oh
like she
yeah.
was going so hard about not being with Black because she's trying to like deflect from something.
Well, that yeah. That's a whole nother
So,
situation. So one thing we do see in here too, it's Angela kind of calls out Shamea,
mm-hmm.
because she made a face, and you gotta love Angela because again, she's not gonna let anyone pass any kind of facial expression without her kind of question their motives. And so it kind of turns into maybe this is a Shamea problem, like maybe Shamea is putting these thoughts kind of out there to K Michelle, and who says she doesn't. She's not the corner of it, but she starts to feel like maybe this is what the direction it's going to go. They're going to pin this on her. So you see the two groups break out. And this is what I mean when I say, I'm like, okay, now you're starting to see the teams because you have Shamea, Kelly, Pinky, and K Michelle talking outside. And then you have the other girls. Again, I still want to be a part of that group because they gather in bed with Porsha and Cynthia, and they're all like trying to figure out what the hell was all this. So much so that Shamea feels that she needs to call a house meeting, all while everyone should be getting ready for Cynthia's gala. And I feel so bad for Cynthia because I think she just wants to have this fucking gala and get the fuck out of it. She's like, I'm so done with this.
Okay, her body looks
Oh my
amazing.
God,
She's
her
had two
ass.
kids. I
I
didn't even
know, her
get the ass
thong.
part until Cynthia's like, I couldn't even hear her because her ass. And then everyone is like, she just wanted to be in a thong and show it.
I know. I
Whatever.
was
She
like,
looked
oh my
amazing.
God.
And her skin is so pretty. Like it's just
Oh,
all evenly cut. As someone who has grown up with eczema, I was like, her skin is
mm-hmm,
so like one tone. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
mm-hmm,
So this is when Drew gets in her face,
mm-hmm.
and this is after K Michelle has her cry.
As everyone is getting ready, and by the way, in some beautiful dresses and really expensive jewelry, because I
Mm-hmm.
did catch that comment from Miss Phaedra Parks. Question like $100,000. That's all, and
She was the only one that said that too. Everybody else was
I,
like,
I was just like, I'm manifesting that kind of energy. I don't think I could ever, no matter how rich I'll be. I don't know if I would ever say stay. And I don't mean like, because I don't think I truly will ever. I think I will be a frugal bitch, even with I feel like the more money I would have, the more frugal I would be, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, even
Um,
Kelly said, thanks for putting my first house around my neck.
a
Like, oh,
girl,
this
I
was the
mean,
cost of that. And Phaedra's just like, oh, that's it. I
that's
love it. She's just like, I'm used to this.
and I'm like, I'm hoping that just Phaedra being Phaedra, because I'm like, how much money do you actually have? I'm like, damn. But again, so we have Shamea and her thong calling a house meeting, and I have to agree with some of these ladies. I mean, first and foremost, props to Shamea because we have mentioned this a few times now. Stunning.
Yeah,
Stunning,
she's stunning.
all caps. And that ass, man. I was just like in envy of like, oh my God, you are it's tens across the board. So she if you have it, I would flaunt it too. I'm not gonna lie.
And
How
she's fit. Because I got a cute
yeah,
butt,
it's
but
not
I
just
also have a
ass,
lot of
yeah.
cellulite on my legs. And I was like, dang. So
I
she's,
she
yeah.
like her stomach, her abs, I'm like, she knows you I would flaunt it if I had it. Except for if I'm having a house meeting talking about this, I probably wouldn't wear my thong personally. That's just me because I don't know if I could take someone seriously either.
That's because you
Look,
don't live in the pool house. She lives in the pool house.
oh my bad, with a dirty pool house at that. So, sensing the group was about to pin everything on her, Shamia called her house meeting to get ahead of it, and she told everyone, "I am not sure I'm going to sit around and let people plot, plan, manipulate me." She said she felt like she was being made the fall person, and most of the ladies gathered with listening. Shamia reportedly try to sort things out with Kay, ultimately clearing her Shamia's name and wrongdoing, but added more mystery to the whodunit situation because they can act as stupid as they want to be, she warned, but her unnamed enemy is still out there because just to know, she knows. And that's what Kay
Right
said.
motive, wrong word. K Michelle was just saying plot, 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 and now you're
Plot.
saying it.
Exactly.
It was just
That's
the wrong word.
exactly what I thought. I'm like, listen, use another word because that says guilt to me. I'm sorry, and I'm not saying that she is or not. I don't know that if this is I mean, you're the lawyer. If this is the court of law, I'm sorry. That kind of implicates yourself a little bit. I'd be like, huh, I need to investigate this over there. Do you think they got anywhere with this in terms of? Do you think any different about Shimmy? I honestly, I didn't think. I was like, oh, Shimmy has nothing to do with this. I'm like, Angela, go for it. It's good TV. I don't care. But after this conversation, I'm like, maybe she does.
I do not think this was productive for Shamia. I was hoping if they weren't headed to the gala, I was hoping this was when they got to talk about Pinky Cole eating meat and got to talk about Kelly. I'm still waiting for those. Listen, if you
I'm
lied,
sure that's gonna come up.
I'm
Yeah,
waiting for those. I don't not want to wait for the reunion for those things to come up. I want
I
to talk
have a
about it
feel.
now.
I have a feeling it's gonna be a reunion. I don't.
And
I
so,
maybe. I don't know.
yeah. So I don't think we got to the root of it. I did want to see Drew and K
Oh,
Michelle fight. I
girl.
feel like Drew would have knocked her out.
Well, we saw this in the trailer. I remember seeing that little snippet between Drew and K Michelle. So here's the thing that set the tone for me way before the season. I was waiting for like clearly K Michelle is feeling a type of way I bet this whole black thing, right? We've seen a little bit of that. She's not, she's agitated, but she's not, all in as we're seeing in here. So I was wondering when the scene was going to come up and what was it about. It's here because during this house meeting, Kay Michelle brings it upon herself to address Drew, and has been saying that Drew allegedly kept telling people that Kay knew her friend Black. And Kay's position was, I really don't know the man, and Drew is confused. So even within that, as I just mentioned, Kay Michelle has been feeling a type of way, but Drew's over here. She's clueless, and you saw it in here. She was clueless there. She's like, "Wait, what are we talking about? Me?" I think she said she only brought up like once, maybe twice, and I'm like, at least from a viewer standpoint, I think that is pretty accurate. I don't think we've seen it much. I think well, and then they do pan to Porsha's party. I didn't think much of it other than they clearly know each other. And if you have that kind of warm reception, I think that's a very fair assessment to at least assume, especially that she knows that he's like DM'd her, which they later show the screenshots in this episode, and she confronts Black, and he's open. He's like, "Yeah, I did. I mean, I've said these things to her." So, Kay Michelle, I'm not saying anything happened, but I'm like, you have not painted yourself in my view in a positive light in terms of this. And then Kay started getting loud about it during the house meeting, and Drew stood her ground, literally got out of her seat. Porsha had to physically hold Kay Michelle back, and all of this smoke was over Black. And man, that was some good TV.
Had a great line where she says, "I'm not arguing with a man over someone I did not sleep with." And I was like,
very telling statement. Like, okay, you slept with is very specific.
It's like maybe you like him, or maybe you enjoy the attention, or
Maybe you flirted with him.
whatever.
Maybe you kissed him.
All I know between that and Pinky getting drunk, and then Cynthia saying, "Oh yeah, our partners are invited. They're going to be at the gala." I was like, "You're about to go see your significant other after y'all are out here showing your asses? That is about to be so funny." Because that was the biggest shock for me. I was like, I would not be embarrassed being drunk around my friends. Being drunk around my girlfriends, and then my husband showing up, and we're all like, "Oh, Kyla just puked all over her shoes last night."
I'm pretty sure no one cares about that with all these other things.
I bet, yeah.
Well,
unless you're Kay Michelle with all these secrets.
I don't know. Well, let me ask you this. Why do you think this triggers her so much, Kay Michelle, this whole Black thing? If nothing was there, back on I can't remember which time on the Sprinter bus, but when Drew was like, "Oh, you know him," like she said it very nonchalantly, and Kay Michelle then took that, "I don't know him. I'm not his friend. I don't know him. Stop saying that, whatever." It should have ended there. And I don't remember it being really brought up in terms of the intensity that she's making it sound. The only person that's bringing light to it in a way that seems mysterious is Kay Michelle.
Yeah, she does keep bringing it up.
So why do you think she's so triggered by this?
Because there's got to be more than what they're showing us in the screenshot. She said, "No, he likes my cakes," because she was making cake at home. Either she feels incredibly guilty for flirting with this man or enjoying the attention, or she probably liked him and he's beneath her, quote unquote, right? If he's not to her level of success and complexity and whatever. You know what I mean? She had to deal with the fact that, no, you're just like every other guy I typically would be attracted to. I'm not going to choose you.
Right.
Unfortunately, because we're overanalyzers, I just got to think back to everything I've seen in the last 7 episodes. Your husband was a secret. None of your friends even knew you were married.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
It's giving, right, yeah. This guy is your rebound guy, and you had a whole bunch of mess in between, and Black was probably part of that fun that you were having. And then you were like, "Nope, I'm going to marry the dentist. I'm going to be this."
Yeah.
You didn't evolve. You just decided to do a whole new thing. And it's like, you're fighting yourself. That's what it's giving. But only because I get to now look at everything you've done with different eyes, because you look suspicious and paranoid and anxious. And
it's very interesting how in one whole episode, for 2 totally different scenarios, she is very paranoid in both of them. At least her actions come off as someone who is paranoid. then it'd be like, girl, stop talking about Black and me. I don't know him. End of story. Period. Okay, that's now done with.
Or not
Someone's
even that. Just act like every time you hear his name, it's the first time. Who's Black again? Oh yeah, the guy you. Oh yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
but I just like no one brought it up. You
She keeps
brought it
bringing it up.
up.
I know.
And Drew looks, and unless, I mean, Drew is an actress. I was going to say she's a good actress. She looks so surprised with all of this. Like, huh? What? Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. She generally looks confused.
She doesn't care. She doesn't ask Black who he dates. She doesn't like him like
And she's,
that. She could care
that's what I
less.
mean. And like, and she's not like saying, unless we're missing something. She keeps saying, oh, you know him. You know that
Mm-hmm.
one guy. So it's like you are the one bringing all the heat to something that makes me question everything. And I'm going to be honest with you again with these whole teams scenarios. I hate yes people more than if I was on this show, I'd be like, okay, hold on. Let's play devil's advocate here. Like, why are you saying that? Why? What motive would somebody have by bringing up like a rumor about your stinky pussy? Like, what is the? We might not be seeing part of it. I don't know if that's accurate because they're following suit in terms of
Mm-hmm.
kind of their actions. I mean, I understand like they all probably are in agreement. Like, okay, some of those other girls on the other team, they're feeling a type of way about them. So I mean, I get it, but it's giving to like uneducated high school type situation. It's like you all are saying yes to a bunch of bullshit. Like, how about you just confront all of that shit at once? And Kelly, you're just dumb and annoying, and I don't think you really care. I think you just want to make a lot of noise, and you think by doing that you're gonna become a fan favorite. You're not. People love Shamea and Porsha. They want them to be friends. They're working out. They're cool. They're not even fighting. They're like cool. We are a distance apart, and we're okay with that. We're cordial. There's nothing bad about it. I think other people are trying to rile those feathers right back up. Pinky, you're also incriminating yourself by bringing up your, baggage way more than anybody else and kind of telling on yourself. And that is kind of the difference in the two groups. They're telling on themselves way more than I think the other girls who are playing it calm, cool, and collected for the most part.
Is that
And
because they're new? And like Portia
well,
literally has books about her stuff that we can read.
well,
And
how when you think about it, I mean, you bring up a good point. However, how new are they? Shamia has been around these girls and
that's
featured on the
true.
show for a long time. K Michelle again. She was on Love and Hip Hop. She's a music star. Like she ain't new,
Pinky Cole has had
right?
tons
I
of
mean, if anything,
notoriety.
maybe she gets that pass of like, okay, she's been through things, but she hasn't been on the star reality TV show. Though she worked for Maury. I
Yeah.
mean,
I
girl,
did
you've seen
not.
it. So I don't know. I don't know
We
what it
didn't
is.
mention it, but when she said like, I don't do girls trips, I have a very masculine energy. That
Oh
made me
yeah,
upset because I was like, wait, I have a lot of testosterone in me too. But it was like, but I just know, don't do a girls trip, especially not with people you don't know. I
yeah.
don't
I
know. I
mean,
was like, she's
yeah.
making
Look bad.
all of us dominant women out here look bad.
Well, that's what I mean. But
Well,
that's a
what
good
would you
point that you.
call masculine? Because she's, yeah,
Well, exactly. What do you call that? Mask. I don't. I hate
I was
that
about to say
word to begin with.
very assertive,
Yeah,
good at
assertive. Well, you said it.
negotiating,
Dominant. I think that's
having energy. Hmm.
mhm. But I think that can be so off-putting to people when you act that way.
I
You know what
think
I
it is
mean?
though. It's being polarizing, which polarizing can
Yes.
be good or bad, but it's someone that you're like, I remember meeting them, good, bad,
Right.
or ugly.
And they were a certain way, and I don't fuck with them.
But you know what
Or
though?
like,
We talked about that in a good way when I said I feel like I would know when Portia Williams walked into a room because her
yeah, I
energy,
remember.
and we were like, we probably wouldn't with Cynthia respectfully because she doesn't lead with her energy. She kind of
Hmm.
comes in and kind of fills out the
She's very
room and stuff.
demure. Like if she did, it's just because I think if we're in a restaurant, Portia's a big personality. Like having a good time, let's kiki. That's why Cynthia would be the one wearing her Yankees baseball cap, just enjoying her salad. She doesn't need the attention, but I think she
Yeah.
probably would give off an energy like someone like some of these other girls. I feel like they would be coming in hot,
Yeah.
and that doesn't come off. I'm not gonna say maybe it's authentically how they want to be portrayed, but it's a little off-putting. And I think you nailed it and said, it is. I don't want anyone to think I'm polarizing because I think that puts me like in a corner, and I'm like, that's not how I want to see. But I know what you like. Pinky is presenting in a very polarizing way currently. It's coming off on like I don't know if I'd want to approach her. I'll put it that way. I don't know what the thing is, but
They use it a lot for the president because they say you like
Like
A
alienating.
lot of people hate him. A lot of people love him. You have like you pull out like really strong emotions
Like
from
from
people.
people.
It's
Like,
just that you don't forget them either way because you're just like, damn, they
or
just
you
like,
see them in a certain, like, they're polarizing because to a lot of people, that could just strictly mean they see them in a particular way or light,
yeah,
which is, that could be good or bad, but it's strictly like, oh, I see you as strong. Maybe it's a strong. Now, strong could be
yeah.
good or maybe be aggressive. I don't know.
And it's better than saying you're impressive because impressive is going to look different for
That
everyone.
part. That part.
But tell me, what did you think about the
I
gala?
mean, love it. The tequila queen thing. I'm like,
Oh my God, that was so stupid.
it was so stupid. And I'm just going to tell you and anyone listening that would ever throw a party that I'm invited to, if you're going to do anything like this, count me out. I'm like, give the crown to somebody else. I don't even want to participate. So I'm just telling you right now, you don't even have to worry about me. I do not. That's like all my worst fears summed up into one scenario. It's, do not announce my name and I'm gonna pose, and then if you don't scream for me the loudest, not only do I not want to do that, if I didn't even get the loudest screams, I probably would like jump in moving traffic. I already feel like I have low self-esteem. That would not help. And it was stupid. And what was
It
also
was stupid.
stupid was,
I
I didn't.
thought her business partner was so fine
I know.
when he
But
showed it. But
whoever
then
was
when he was
crying on the,
crying on the,
I know. I was like,
it's like,
damn.
I am so sorry. But I think that speaks to how important the event was. And even her meeting with Adrian a couple meetings ago, and how so much of that had got lost in the cows and the horses of it all.
The thought that I had, though, I was like, how did they move it in quickly so fast?
Well, it was at a house. I think they just wanted it to be outside because it was Dallas.
I
It was a
know, but
big
like
ass
it was like,
house.
I know, but it was like decorated inside. I'm like, okay, you kind of all planned for this, though. No,
And that's probably part of his tears. He's like, ice sculpture gone,
maybe it was
the
the
outside decor
outside.
gone. We're not getting
Yeah,
our
it was just
refund
an
on these
extension of the
things.
party. It wasn't, yeah, probably.
Plus, he had just saw her and was like so excited. So I
Yeah,
mean, come
yeah,
on, you've been
probably.
planning all these things and then the plan flips. Yeah, you're gonna be pissed.
I
And then Drew
guess.
literally shows up as they're leaving.
Don't even get me started. And I get she was
And she
sick,
didn't even
whatever.
look good. I was like, you took all that time for glam.
Now, I will tell you a little tea that I did find out from the Cynthia Bailey in the same interview that I was listening to. She defended Drew and said what we didn't totally see was because of Shamea's house meeting, it did push glam. They had a much shorter amount of time to get ready. That by the time it got to her, it wasn't the same amount of time that she was going to have. Combined with she didn't feel good, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. She wasn't mad about it, but apparently that's a big reason why she was late. I'll tell you what, I just wouldn't have gone. I'm like, you know what, girl, I'm sorry it's taking too long. My apologies. I love you. I'll celebrate you by taking you out to dinner.
Cynthia's a class act because only Cynthia, I
Honestly,
think, would have given a statement afterwards. And another thing,
she's probably wore down.
if they were still in Atlanta, the party may have still been going on at 10:30.
That part.
So
So it did look fun, besides the tequila queen bullshit. It did look fun. Like they were dancing, having a good time. They were able to put their men were there. I thought that was kind of like all just flew in for like a few hours. I think that's kind of weird, but hey, whatever.
And Pinky's like, oh my God, I argued with somebody yesterday. And I was just like,
I'm like,
shut
okay.
up. Why don't you tell him the important
Yeah.
stuff, like your bankruptcy?
No, please don't. I don't need to know about anything else other than what is the path upward from here. Is there one? Is there not one? How about where are your kids? I want to see your children. And I never say that statement. She has worn me down so much that I don't give a flying fuck. And I'm sorry. You were excited that she was coming on the show because you knew about her previous to her being on here. So I'm like, oh, well, now I'm excited. I'm not excited no more because I'm like, I don't know anything other than these two things about you. And that's, no offense, that's not that interesting anymore.
It's not. These were interesting 2 episodes. I thought they were really, really good.
But we've learned a lot about.
We learned a lot because
about people.
I just would have thought if you want to be on national TV and if you have any bit of fame, I would say the least famous person in the Atlanta cast, Angela. I mean, her spouse is very famous.
I would argue probably Pinky, personally.
But like, definitely not K. Michelle. And to show us that you are still very insecure and very obsessed with what people are saying. Mind you, while you were talking
Mm.
shit all day on Twitter,
Right.
still, most people I got off Twitter when it got sold. You're
Hmm.
still using that shitty, terrible app and to have keyboard courage and you're still sensitive. You
Wait, I was
can't
gonna
be both. You
exactly. I was
can't
gonna say
have
that same
both.
thing. I totally agree with you. I would feel a little different about her scenario if she wasn't, to your point, having keyboard courage and posting about it. That is a big outlier for me personally, because if you're going to cause a scene by coming down here crying, then you better be talking about it. And if you're not going to do that, then you sure as hell should not be like tweeting about it on, or whatever you call it these days. You should not be posting about it overnight, because that tells me I would have been more endearing with, okay, when you said like, okay, maybe she still has like insecurities and all this kind of stuff. Like that could be so endearing. However, it's no longer endearing when you're kind of, being a coward and posting about it with no names while you're filming said show, and then show up the next morning filming the show and not even being giving details about it. You're just playing coy. It's very weird to me, and I have very little to no sympathy for your tears if you can just go, okay, then I'm gonna talk a lot of shit. And I know that she's kind of known for that, which, okay, cool. Then if you can, be that girl online, and you better be that girl in person too.
You better be that girl. And I know I can hear her argument now, but I'll say it to their face.
Yeah. Well,
After you've processed and got 300 likes, that's a different
right.
kind. That's very, very different because,
Mm-hmm.
see, now I'm wondering how many tweets you have talking shit about your husband because you know he doesn't have social to see it. Nah,
Yeah.
that's cowardly. I
It's given weird. I don't know.
it's giving weird.
I
It's
am, I will
giving
say,
weird.
what I am now hyper invested in, though. I mean, I am that much more like, where's this going now? Where does this ship lead us? Like, is
Mm.
there going to be, well, she clearly hates Porsha because she has maintained that in any interview she's done. So repaired, and I don't know, she's got a
That's
lot
how
of
I
heat.
feel about Kelli, though. I feel like Kelli hates Porsha.
Oh, Kelli hates Porsha for sure. She's definitely like has a lot of heat for her.
So they're just here for the
Mm,
checks.
I guess I would be too, but like I wouldn't. I'm telling you what, who I don't want to piss off? Porsha.
And this is all because Porsha doesn't like hypocrites. She brought this up because Kelli said she was sleeping with married
Yeah,
men, and she
on
said, "Well,
the
you are too."
right. Whether it's true or not, this is alleged. There are like pretty incriminating, evidence of this alleged her sleeping with the married guy. Like there is, from what I've
Hmm.
heard, like rumblings online, that there is like enough evidence. So I mean, it should make up one very interesting reunion for sure. And here's the thing: going to that episode with her, Portia, Kay, and Kelly, and that's when this really kicked off. You still hugged her at the end of that and made her at least believe that, okay, y'all were good. When you were spent the next scene hanging out with Angela and Shamea talking mad shit about her, and said you
That's
just
true.
did it to, get out of there basically. And I'm like, that looks bad about you, not anyone else. And you can tell by how people present themselves, how they argue, what they say. And it sounds like she's just throwing like spaghetti at the wall, and Portia knows some real shit and is using it against her.
Because to your point, Kelli started it. And when you
Mm-hmm.
started, I now get to research and I get to find out,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you sleep with married men too. So you throw the first stone, somebody else can come back with you with a much larger
Right.
boulder. And that's exactly what she's done. And so I think her pattern is being low down and dirty. I think the
Probably.
exceptions of her with Shamea and us not seeing her talk about Shamea, I think that's the exception. Because
Yeah.
we see her even talking about Pinky, which is okay because I don't think they're close. I need Pinky to find out that she's the one telling
I know.
people that she don't eat. I need her to find that out like
But you
next
know
week.
what? I have a feeling though, a prediction
What?
about that. I predict, even though we want her to see that, well, she has. Now, at this point, she has.
Oh,
She
true.
hasn't really, and she hasn't said anything. And if she has, I'm not aware of it. I don't think she'll care, and that's annoying to know. I just had this feeling that it's gonna be one of those where we think like she's gonna learn that Kelly and Shami were her buddies were the ones that kind of start this and got that ball rolling, when in fact, it wasn't the girl that she's going after, and she's gonna be really pissed with Shamea and Kelli. I think she's gonna give him a pass.
I don't think you're wrong.
I don't
I
know
don't
why.
think
Maybe
you're
there's something that else
wrong.
happens, but I don't see it for some reason. Sorry.
This is gonna get good. So, are
So
we gonna have
there we are.
16 episodes for this season at least?
It's probably gonna be more than that. I bet it's gonna be like 17,
Yeah.
and then a 3-part reunion.
So yeah, let us know, you guys. Let us know.
Right.
How do you
About
feel about K
episode
Michelle?
7. Are you annoyed with her as much as we are? Are you siding with her? And if you are siding with her, let us know why. I would love a fresh perspective.
Same with how you feel about Pinky Cole. Because coming off of episode 4 where she tells her husband, and I was like, oh, she's finally
I know, we
opening
were like
up.
with her.
Yes. And then we're like,
Oh
okay,
no.
you can't hold your liquor. You arguing.
You can't hold your
All
liquor, and
right.
you're like a record that does not know how to not repeat.
Talk to you later.
All right. Thanks for listening. Bye.